Loki is stronger than Kaido. Now, that's not what this video is about, but it's been a while since I feel like we've had a chapter that I'm like, I almost look forward to a break week because I have something more to talk about. A lot of these chapters, I feel like recently have kind of just been, we're getting into it. It's kind of a little bit slow paced, but they're setting it up, so I can't really blame them too much, but I'm like, there's not a ton to talk about. Now there is. Now there is a ton to talk about. We got way more information on characters that were a mystery before, and just an all-around great chapter. Great chapter. As in, one, Oda is fantastic at exposition dumping, where it almost doesn't feel like he's exposition dumping. And I feel like, at least personally, and I think he plays to a lot of different groups here. But obviously, I care a lot about like power scaling and like character strengths and stuff like this, especially at this point. And I think we got a lot of Loki knowledge in this exposition, and just seeing how strong he is. Not only just that, but the historical significance of everything that he's talking about giant-wise is pretty nuts and interesting. Not even getting into how Oni's playing a part here as a giant type of race, where they might have the ancient blood that they're talking about to begin with, but just that giants are kind of racist towards other giants, which is a little funny. And there's some bigotry kind of humor in here, which I also like as well. Just like I thought about, I don't remember this nerd's name, Rhodey or whatever his name is, kind of doing this exposition dump. I was pretty sure, it had to be him. He has the knowledge of all the giants. Giants are obviously much older, and so he's sharing a lot of stuff that has to do with the giants. We learned that Loki, so I'll get into it more. When there's a break week of how ridiculous Loki is. But he was able to slay 100 giant warriors of guards that served debatably the strongest king that has been in the giant land. And then the only one that survived and defeated Loki was Lord Jarul, who we saw in Big Mom's flashback is the one that defeated Loki. Now, talking about the ancient giant warrior blood and how there's horns, and how we learn kind of about Ors, and like Ors had horns, so he was definitely a part of that ancient giant warrior race. But that has slowly begin devolving, where none of the giants anymore are getting horns, which is interesting because that aligns with how soft they are nowadays as well. Just because, especially the kids, but the giants coming up nowadays are just soft as hell. Which King Harold, he definitely instilled peace, and I think that was good because everyone saw giants as this nefarious force of evil that ruled over the New World and just kind of One Piece in general, with how crazy they were. And he's like, we're not like that anymore. Like, we're looking to be peaceful and to extend relationships to the land abroad. And he meant that so much, and as Zoro puts it, he had so much conviction that he literally ripped out the horns in his head. And that dude looks like a bad man. A little bigger than normal giants, but Loki was able to kill him in what seemed like a hell of a battle. And I believe, I gotta double check, but I believe that Loki didn't have his fruit yet when they fought. Could be wrong. I don't even know if that's even confirmed yet, but I like to think of that being the case. We learned that Harujin and Loki have different mothers, which I think was something that we had theorized before. The fact that they were not directly related. And Harujin, we get a bit more of him, which I like. Harujin, it's just like in comparability to his brother, even just the little knowledge that we know about him, it's like he's soft. He wants to be king of the giants, which I'm sure that he'll accomplish, just because he was one, if not, besides Dory and Bragi, the first giant that interacted with Luffy, and they had obviously a big shared experience, and he is a part of Luffy's grand fleet now. But they maneuver through this castle, talking more and more about tainted blood and just how giants are awful to each other. They come upon the knocked out giants, and then obviously I think they're going to put two and two together and see that they are under attack in some way, shape, or form. Now, on to the fun part. The Realm of Dead. We're getting some of Gunko's powers. Now, I don't even feel like it's really much of a debate, and I don't even really have much proof, but her arrows are very different than the arrows that Sabo and Cobra had to deal with. in the sense that her arrows are not stabby arrows. They are directional arrows, and she literally has the arrow fruit. And it was clear as day that we saw arrows in the throne room with the Cobra and everyone else, and she could have been there, but this is not what we're seeing from her power at all. This does not reflect what was happening in that throne room, and I do believe that this is something different. Whether Emu is able to use a multitude of fruits that he also shares with other people, or if that's just how his power works in general, I'm not sure, but really don't think this is the same attack that stabbed Cobra and Sabo and took them out. Just doesn't seem like it is. Pretty cool power, though. It seems like she can giganticize, if even a little bit, and it has everything to do with the future. Loki's resolve remains strong as he refuses to join them, and he just gets his ass whooped. I mean, there's not much that he can do, and then we finally get this reveal. Shamrock. Not just any Shamrock. Fagarland Shamrock. The son of the Elder. Fagarland Garleen. My initial thought was, and I think I speak for most people when that was probably your initial as well, talks about him taking the stage. It's also that last silhouette in chapter, I want to say, 11, 19, something like that, when it has all the big players going after the One Piece. And he was the silhouetted figure for sure. I mean, he's a leader of the Gods Knights. We're seeing how much more important that they are. But he took up the mantle of his old man. Now, why was Shanks crying? I brought it up in the last chapter, and I'm pretty sure that this answers that question. I don't have a lot of room to stand on here. But the more I think back to that moment where Roger returned from Laugh-Tale and told Red Taro, aka Shanks, something that made him cry. And I think all of us were thinking at the time that the perspective in which he told him something had something to do with what he learned at Raftel. But I don't believe that's the case at all now. What I believe is that this was the last time that he was going to see Shanks and talk to him one-on-one before he knew his untimely demise was coming. And so what he told him and what he learned already knew at God's Valley and kept to himself was the fact that his father is out there. His father is Garling. He has a twin brother, and his father decided that he didn't like Shanks. For whatever reason, Shanks was released from being a Celestial. Or maybe Shanks knows this fact and he was released anyway and decided to live like that. But I believe the information that he dropped on him was, you're going to play a big role. You're not the guy, but your father is out there and he's a bad man. And he's a bad man that someday you're probably going to have to take out. That is what I believe the information that he passed on to him was. I don't think that there's any cloning situation here. I really don't. I just think these are like twin brothers in a way. Maybe Shanks is a clone, maybe Shamrock's a clone, but at the end of the day, whatever the information that he gave to Shanks regarding his relationships to his father and his overall being was shared in that moment, and that is what made Shanks cry. Shamrock is what it is. I mean, it kind of gives us a little bit of maybe typing on how these guys are going to be named. I don't know how to feel about it. I still don't know how to feel about it. I'm kind of like, I don't know if they're just trying to give Shanks somebody at the end here, but that would kind of upset me. When I went back and looked at the people going after the One Piece, I was like, okay, it looks like almost dragons matched up against him in order of importance. I don't know. It's cool to know that it's not Shanks being a bastard, which points to him even being more good. I got to go back and review him visiting the elders, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this is. We'll just have to wait and see. It's exciting that he finally got announced, and I'm excited for the future. So hope you guys enjoyed the chapter as much as me, and have a great weekend. See ya.